Hey there, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Steven's NFL Podcast. I'm your host, Steven Crocio. We got a lot to talk about tonight. I mean, seriously. We have a lot to talk about. Still, and this is what we got a lot to talk about tonight, like, say, the J.J. Watt and Von Miller debate, especially after we're getting word that Von Miller could get released. We also got word on what Marvin Jones Jr. said when he's heading into free agency. We're also reviewing the Carson Wentz trade, so that's going to be one heck of a story. And we're going to talk about today's NFL today, what we heard from the NFL today. I mean, seriously, Sam Darnold, for example. And, of course, DeSean Jackson. Of course, and finally, Matt Milano. Anyways, let's get this party started, shall we? Also, I'm also at 190 subscribers. So, if you would please feel free to like this video, and also if you're new, please feel free to subscribe to my channel. I'm already at 190, 10 more till 200. So this is going to be one heck of a night. Anyways, let's get on with this, shall we? As we all know from a few days ago, we're getting word that Von Miller's time with the Denver Broncos is about to run out. Yep. Anyways, let's get on with this, shall we? As we all know from a few... So yeah, Von Miller's time with the Denver Broncos is about to run out. But the thing is, will it be release or trade? And that is what I call one heck of an amazing time. So let's get on with this, shall we? First things first. Anyways, no more delays. Von Miller. He was a Super Bowl MVP in Super Bowl 50. But here comes the problem with him. Tore his ACL. Had a criminal record. Who in the world would be desperate enough to give Von Miller a shot in the NFL? Well, here's the thing. I've listed down my top 5 candidates to take in Von Miller. And so let's get this. But first things first, I want to go on with the J.J. Watt versus Von Miller debate. Ding, ding, ding. No, I'll start up with Von Miller first. Anyways, Von Miller... He was Super Bowl MVP on its 50th Super Bowl. That was back when the Denver Broncos took on the Carolina Panthers. All right, people? And yeah, Sure, he tore his ACL, and sure, he has a criminal record, but he's also one of the best defensive players in the NFL. You have to be pretty desperate to bring in a guy like Von Miller. I mean, seriously, you need an edge rusher if you want to bring in Von Miller. I can see some teams who lose in the J.J. Watt sweepstakes bring in Von Miller, try to get into the Von Miller sweepstakes. Anyways, here's my top 5 candidates for to select Von Miller. I put that in here so we'll know which category we're on. So yeah, pay attention. For number 5, I say Von Miller would definitely be in the Las Vegas Raiders. Raiders, you say? Why is that? Well, here's the thing. Damian Lillard, from the Portland Trail Blazers, wrote somewhere on social media that Von Miller should pack his bags and go to Las Vegas. And I was like, what the world? Damian Lillard actually said that. I mean, seriously, Damian Lillard actually said that. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. That is what I call crazy. So yeah, Damian Lillard actually said that Von Miller should pack his bags and go to Las Vegas. I know what you're thinking. But they're the Broncos' divisional foe. Well, guess what? Melvin Gordon did that too, in case you've forgotten. Melvin Gordon left the Chargers behind for Denver Broncos last year. So don't come late, which is the same reason why J.J. Watt should sign with Tennessee Titans. You can't go and blame. You can't go and decide that teams should not sign with their divisional foes. Melvin Gordon wouldn't have signed with Denver Broncos if that was true. Don't forget, Melvin Gordon signed with the Broncos, and his last team was the Chargers. What, you want to get him fined for signing on to that team? I mean, seriously. So yeah, which is why Las Vegas Raiders should be one of the candidates. Of course, Von Miller did get arrested there. Yeah, I think Von Miller got arrested there, so maybe the Las Vegas Police Department could threaten him into being a part of the Raiders. And we're like, Raiders! You have to serve your days with the Las Vegas Raiders. Otherwise, we throw you in jail for life. Yeah, that's exactly what the Las Vegas Police Department would do if that was true. Anyways, now we move on to team number 4, and that's going to be the Los Angeles Rams. And I know what you're thinking. What? Why the Rams, for crying out loud? Well, it's quite simple. The Los Angeles Rams, they're gonna probably lose Leonard Floyd to free agency, so they probably need someone in near the edge rusher department, and Los Angeles Rams is not even close to the J.J. Watt sweepstakes. So yeah, I think the Rams should think about bringing in Von Miller because even though they were the runner-up in the NFC West, they still beat the Seattle Seahawks and felt like the NFC West champs. I mean, seriously. How could you not sign Von Miller, Los Angeles Rams? I mean, seriously. Yeah. You would have to be guess. You would have it. The time has come for Los Angeles Rams to strike in the Von Miller sweepstakes. If once Denver Broncos lets him go, I mean seriously. Once Denver Broncos lets him go, Los Angeles Rams should make their move. I mean seriously. They could use some help on that defense. Anyways, enough about that. Let's move on to team number 3. The team I have listed in third place would be this team, the Tennessee Titans. And I know what you're thinking. Why the Titans, for crying out loud? Well, it's quite simple. Tennessee Titans, they would make sense if J.J. Watt. I list Tennessee Titans in third place because they're still in the running for the J.J. Watt sweepstakes right now. I mean, seriously. I'm putting them in third place to get Von Miller because they're still running for the J.J. Watt sweepstakes. I mean, seriously. You can't expect me to not put Tennessee Titans on there. I mean, seriously, if they lose the J.J. Watt sweepstakes, John Robinson would be a hypocrite not to call in Von Miller, to look into Von Miller, because they're keeping Isaiah Wilson, for crying out loud. I don't see it. If Isaiah Wilson stays with Tennessee, then John Robinson would be a hypocrite not to look into Von Miller. But only if they lose the J.J. Watt sweepstakes. Yeah, I said it. He will be branded a hypocrite if he loses the Von Miller sweepstakes. How could you not see Von Miller in either the Raiders, Rams, or the Titans? I mean, for God's sake. But if Von Miller wants to go to a team that obviously is basically starting over again, why not Houston Texans? And I know what you're thinking. Houston Texans are not the team. Are you stupid? Are you idiotic? Well, guess what? Houston Texans are more qualified than Jacksonville is at the moment, because Jacksonville is currently a rookie right now due to Urban Meyer and the upcoming Trevor Lawrence. I mean, plus, think about it. Some guys have to go to Houston eventually. I mean, seriously, some people have to go to Houston eventually, especially since Texas is probably is in a crud hole right now. I wouldn't be surprised if the Texans or the Cowboys get the phone call from some players after going through Snowmageddon. Not to mention the fact the Texans, they lost J.J. Watt, so I wouldn't be surprised if the Texans go and get Von Miller. You know what you're thinking? That would be idiotic. Well, they don't draft until the 3rd round because of the stupid things Bill O'Brien has done. Am I not right? Oh. Christian Dillard, what's up? You already missed out on 4 of my picks right now, and I'm glad you showed up. Right now, let me recap for you the rest of my picks. I chose Las Vegas Raiders, Los Angeles Rams, Tennessee Titans, and Houston Texans. And I know you're thinking, Houston Texans, what in the world? Yeah, I know. Yeah, I know. But some people have to end up in Houston eventually. I know what you're thinking. Salary cap in hell. I know. But some people have to end up in Houston eventually. Plus, Texas could be a redemption place. Now I move on to Von Miller as my number one. Now we move on to Von Miller's number one destination. I know, Christian. Let's move. Now let's see what. And the person and the team I think that will win the Von Miller sweepstakes is the Indianapolis. No. I'm going to scratch that one. The Green Bay Packers. I don't know what you're thinking. Salary cap. Are you mad? I know what you're thinking, but I think Green Bay Packers may change their mind on the J.J. Watt sweepstakes, or they may not win the J.J. Watt sweepstakes. So, I think Green Bay Packers will get a shot at Von Miller. Once the J.J. Watt sweepstakes is over, I think. Bro, the Colts would beat us every time if they got DeForest Buckner and Von Miller. Yeah, I know. But they got their left tackle to worry about. Plus, they also got to think about whether or not T.Y. Hilton is staying, because T.Y. Hilton is a free agent. I mean, seriously, T.Y. Hilton is a free agent. Imagine if Tennessee Titans or Jacksonville Jaguars get him. That would be a pain in the neck to Indianapolis. Ooh. But I say it's going to be Green Bay Packers. I think Green Bay Packers will lose the J.J. Watt sweepstakes and will get a shot at Von Miller. If they don't, then they're obviously lost. I mean, seriously, Green Bay Packers cut at least $10 million by releasing two of their guys today. J.J. Watt, Bud Dupree, Curtis Samuel, or Juju are my main free agent wants. Yeah. Then I guess you already answered my next topic. I mean, seriously, who do you want? J.J. Watt or Von Miller on your team? I mean, seriously. If you could only pick one, who would it be? J.J. Watt or Von Miller? I know what you're thinking. Both guys injury prone. Von Miller, Super Bowl MVP, but had an arrest record. I know what you're thinking, but I'm remaining neutral in the sweepstakes. I think if Tennessee Titans were to get either J.J. Watt or Von Miller, it would be great. But I'm saying J.J. Watt as my final answer. J.J. Watt would definitely be on. Von Miller has off-field issues affect big time. I doubt we'll get him. Yes, but here's the thing, Christian Dillard. If Tennessee Titans are thinking of drafting Jaelan Phillips, that would be your same answer, because Jaelan Phillips also has off-field issues. So that's what you're going to say if Tennessee Titans select Jaelan Phillips in the draft. I mean, seriously. Plus, need I remind you that we're keeping Isaiah that they're going to keep Isaiah Wilson. If they don't go after Von Miller after keeping Isaiah Wilson, Titans are going to be branded hypocrites. I mean, seriously, that would be extremely bad. Yeah, I'll take Vaughn, but we have a better chance at JJ. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. We're still in the running for JJ Watt, but if we do end up losing, I hope John Robinson is considering Von Miller as a backup plan. My plan C is Bud Debris. In fact, I already planted my top 5 free agents. My top 5 free agents in the edge rusher department. JJ Watt is number 1. Von Miller is number 2. Bud Debris is number 3. Carl Lawson is number 4. Re-signing Jadeveon Clowney is number 5. If we can get 2 out of 5 of my picks, I would definitely be okay with it. Unless, of course, we don't get any of them and we get T.Y. Hilton. That would be great. So, yeah, if your team had a shot at either... You're forgetting, because if we lose Corey Davis, John New, and Adam Humphries, we are in trouble. We are in trouble. Yes, you are correct. Christian. Corey Davis, John New Smith, and Adam Humphries. Even more trouble. You are correct. Which is why we have to get a free agent, 1 free agent wide receiver, and draft 1 wide receiver. I mean, seriously, I am looking at Elijah Moore in the draft. I am looking at Elijah Moore. I am hoping John Robinson or Mike Vrabel call Elijah Moore in the draft. If we lose all those guys, we need 2 wide receivers and 1 tight end. Well, there was one NFL rumor tweet that says Tennessee Titans might re-get Jared Cook. In addition, when they announced the rumor about T.Y. Hilton. In addition, but I know what you're thinking. Jared Cook should remain off. I know. Two wide receivers and 1 tight end, which is why we're going to move on to our next topic. Shall we? Nah, Jared Cook is definitely a no. That's right. So I want to talk about today's topic about Marvin Jones Jr. I mean, seriously, Marvin Jones Jr. pulled a J.J. Watt move today. I mean, seriously, Marvin Jones Jr. is looking at Saints Fan 101. Would you take Jonnu Smith or Jared Cook? What do you think? Jonnu Smith. Anyways, welcome, Saints Fan 101. Anyways, now let's move on to Marvin Jones Jr. So Marvin Jones Jr. really shocked us all when he announced what he was doing in free agency. It's not just the money he's after, it's a Super Bowl ring. He pulled a J.J. Watt move today. Which means Marvin Jones Jr. wants to be signed on to a team that is in the running for a Super Bowl. I mean, seriously, he wants to be in the running for a Super Bowl, which means teams like Philadelphia Eagles are off the table for him. I mean, seriously. Which means Don't expect him to be in a Detroit Lions uniform next year. Who do you see Marvin Jones Jr. signing with? I mean, seriously. I know a few names that I can see Marvin Jones Jr. being with. Let's start off with the Los Angeles Rams for one. His teammate Matthew Stafford is the new quarterback. And the Rams have a great roster for one thing. They got Cooper Kupp. They're about to lose Josh Reynolds. So yeah, that's a wide receiver option for the Titans. Would you rather sign Marvin Jones or T.Y. Hilton? Saints fan 101, if we get the chance, I hope it's T.Y. Hilton. I know what you're saying. I know what you're saying, Saints fan 101, and I believe T.Y. Hilton should be with the Tennessee Titans, but there were some rumors going around that Jaguars and Dolphins are in the mix. But if T.Y. Hilton leaves and we don't get Corey Davis, then Marvin Jones Jr. should be a backup plan. But given the fact that he'll be on a Todd Downing system, that's going to be difficult. But hey, remember when Todd Downing was offensive coordinator? Need I remind you that his offense went injured? Derek Carr injured, for example. So he never got the chance to show off his full strength, his offensive team's full strength. My options at wide receiver are Juju or Curtis Samuel, Galladay, or Will Fuller. Christian, believe it or not, Juju Smith-Schuster was mentioned last night. Was mentioned last night on NFL Total Access, and one of those guys thought the same thing about Juju Smith-Schuster coming onto Tennessee. What about Adam Humphries? He's a potential number 2 wide receiver. Saints fan 101. Adam Humphries got injured too many times in the past, including last year. Adam Humphries got injured so many times. I can't even count them. Can you imagine A.J. Brown, Juju, and Elijah Moore? Yes, but I can also imagine A.J. Brown, T.Y. Hilton, and Elijah Moore. Yeah. I can imagine those three. I can imagine either T.Y. or Juju on the Titans in addition to those two. But for that to happen, I think Titans would have to trade down. And the only thing because round 1, Titans would rather get an edge rusher. Unless, of course, they trade down with a team that wants a certain running back that's still on the board. And that is Najee Harris, running back from Alabama. If Titans can pull off a trade down with a team that wants them, like say Pittsburgh Steelers, New York Jets, or Buffalo Bills. But if they trade with the Buffalo Bills, they're really going to screw up their chances of beating them next year. I mean, seriously, Buffalo Bills are one running back away from being contenders. Then again, Buffalo Bills, they can get Najee Harris either way, even if they stay put, because let's face it, Pittsburgh Steelers, I think they might want to get Landon Dickerson more because they need a center. Do you think the Titans will cut Malcolm Butler? I would be shocked if that were to happen, but it would cut a lot of cap space. It would cut a lot of cap space. I still don't believe Buffalo is better than us for some reason. If the Buffalo Bills do draft Najee Harris, it'll be a battle of Alabama running backs next year. When the Buffalo and Bills and Tennessee Titans face off, it'll be a battle between Alabama running backs next year. If that were to happen. Ooh. And Saints fan 101, I would be shocked to see Malcolm Butler go. For one, they save a lot of cap space, but they would be also cutting their best cornerback. That would be a bad idea. Idea for one. Unless you're dead set on drafting JC, a cornerback, in round 1. That would be very bad. That would be a very bad idea. I mean, seriously. If I hear JC Horn's name, it would mean Malcolm Butler would get cut. I mean, seriously. But then again, there's also the possibility that Adoree Jackson could get cut as well. Because it would save them $10 million. The Bills don't need Najee Harris. They got Devin Singletary and Zach Moss. I would cut Vaccaro and Humphreys. They have big contracts. Exactly. Kenny Vaccaro. Titans don't need him anymore because Kenny Vaccaro, for crying out loud. Titans have Amani Hooker now. And Amani Hooker has definitely earned his keep. They should have announced this right from the start. And as for you, Saints fan 101, I think they do need Najee Harris because Devin Singletary and Zach Moss, they barely ran the ball all season. Josh Allen had to do most of the work by throwing the ball to Stephon Diggs most of the time. I mean, seriously. Still, I would hate it if Buffalo Bills get Jonnu Smith. Because, can you imagine those three guys? Josh Allen, Stephon Diggs, Jonnu Smith. That would equal a Super Bowl team. I mean, it's bad enough having Stephon Diggs on the team. Imagine if Buffalo fills their tight end spots with Jonnu Smith. That would be very bad. Do you think that A.J. Brown is a top 5 wide receiver? And Aaron Jones? I think Aaron Jones is too expensive. Aaron Jones is too expensive right now, Christian. Even the Green Bay Packers wouldn't consider about re-signing him. I think he could go to Miami. Because Miami Dolphins, they make more sense. Not only are they're more contenders than the other LaFleur brother, Mike LaFleur's New York Jets. Sure, Mike LaFleur's an offensive coordinator, but he's still Matt LaFleur's brother. I think A.J. Brown could be a top 5 wide receiver in the NFL as long as the Titans give him all the room he can get. Yeah, I mean Josh Allen and Diggs, Jonnu, and Aaron Jones. That would be crazy. That would equal a Super Bowl team. 3 out of 4 of those guys would equal a Super Bowl team. But Josh Allen is the key to the Super Bowl. But Aaron Jones, I don't see that happening because if you think about it at the moment, even if they fail to get J.J. Watts, they are not going to get they won't have enough money to get Aaron Jones. I mean, seriously. I can see Aaron Jones, if he does leave Green Bay, he's going to either go to Miami San Francisco or the New York Jets. Do you think Darrynton Evans? Saints fan 101, I think Darrynton Evans is going to most likely stay with the special teams because I think the Titans are already looking into a running back in the NFL draft. Oh, no, you are not. Is it BSUT? Oh, no. No. You do not have the right to say that. And also, Darrynton Evans, I think they drafted him to get onto special teams. Onto special teams. I think now we know why they drafted him in the 3rd round last year. I think Darrynton Evans obviously has a future with the Titans. But I think he's going to remain on special teams because... Oh, I meant, do you think Darrynton Evans is a bust? This year, I say he's a 50-50 bust. Next year is where Darrynton Evans is going to shine. Next year is where Darrynton Evans is going to shine, but I think he'll shine on the special teams more because right now, Tennessee Titans, they're looking at another running back in the NFL draft right now. I think his name is Jared Patterson, running back from Buffalo. I think Jared Patterson's most likely going to be a replacement for Jeremy McNichols if Titans draft him. But he's most likely going to be somewhere in day 3. What about Isaiah Wilson? Isaiah Wilson is 100% a bust. I mean, seriously. I was mad when I heard Isaiah Wilson's name. I mean, seriously. I told them I was praying that it would be a cornerback, for crying out loud. And then I heard this guy's name and was like, come on! What is wrong with you? And guess what? And something told me that I was right. My instincts sometimes my instincts were right. This was that one time. I mean, seriously. That Isaiah Wilson draft pick was a sign that my instincts were right. Right. Especially after all the crap he's done. And yet we're still keeping him. If we can tolerate Isaiah Wilson, then if we lose the J.J. Watt sweepstakes, they have to go after Von Miller. Because if they don't, they're hypocrites. Do you think the Titans will re-sign Desmond King? It could be a long shot, but yeah, I think so. As long as they get rid of either Malcolm Butler or Adoree Jackson. I mean, seriously, we did trade a 6th-round pick for Desmond King. And his debut with the Titans was great. A fumble recovery touchdown in that game against the Chicago Bears. How do you not re-sign this guy? How could you not re-sign Desmond King after the incredible performance in that one game against Chicago? I mean, seriously. A part of me during the trade deadline wanted me to have Stephon Gilmore on the Titans. But when I heard Desmond King, I was like, okay, that's a perfect plan B. That's a perfect plan B. And when it was announced, I was okay with it. I was definitely okay with it. And then I was like, we traded our 6th-round pick for this guy? What a steal. It was a heck of a steal. It would be a crime to not get Desmond King back. Yeah, I wanted Stephon Gilmore on the Titans at the deadline. Sometimes we can't trust that. Sometimes we can't. What position do you think Titans will draft in the first round? If they stay at number 22, it's going to be an edge rusher. It is 100% going to be an edge rusher, because if they don't pick an edge rusher, I'm going to freak out. I am going to freak out. I wouldn't mind if they pick Azeez Ojulari, for crying out loud. As long as they get an edge rusher, I'll be okay with it. But here's the one edge rusher I hope they don't call their name on. Jalan Phillips. And it's because of what Christian said about Von Miller. Off-field. What about Trey Hendrickson? I don't know about Trey, Saints fan 101. I don't know. I do not know. I don't know about Trey Hendrickson, but I think he might fit in fine. Fine, I'll just have to look at his stats sometime before free agency, which reminds me, I will be going live 1 hour before free agency starts for a pre-show before free agency starts. And we'll be breaking down all the breaking newses as well. We'll also be before free agency starts, we will also be doing a prediction. You'll have a chance to give out your thoughts on who you want on your team before free agency's over. Free agency begins. So yeah, on St. Patrick's Day at 3 p.m., I will be going live for all that. Anyways, let's move on to our next topic. Let's talk about the Carson Wentz trade that happened yesterday. I mean, seriously, I was very shocked to hear Carson Wentz. I knew Carson Wentz was going to be traded to Indianapolis, but I did not see what they gave up coming. I mean, seriously, they gave up a third-round draft. They gave the Eagles a third-round draft pick and 2022's conditional second-round draft pick, which could turn into a first round if the following things happen. Carson Wentz plays 75% of his offensive plays, or I thought the Colts gave up on Wentz. Yeah. Let me please finish. Anyways, the Eagles will be getting the Colts 2022 first-round picks if any of the two things happen. Wentz plays 75% of his offensive plays, or 70% of his offensive plays if Colts make the playoffs. So basically, it could drop 5% as long as Colts make the playoffs. And this move makes sense. I know what you're thinking. Carson Wentz is a bust. What in the world? King Isaac, what's up? We're now talking about the Carson Wentz trade that's going on. I know what you're thinking. Carson Wentz sucks. He's not. Yeah, but here's the thing. Frank Reich is the head coach of the Indianapolis Colts. Before that, he was Philadelphia Eagles head offensive coordinator back in 2016 through 2017. That was around the time Carson Wentz was on the team. I think Eagles were at their best before Carson Wentz got injured. But don't forget, it was Carson Wentz that got them into this in the first place. Plus, Indianapolis Colts is a better team than Philadelphia Eagles. So, yeah, I think Carson Wentz is going to fit in fine in Indy. I just hope Andrew Luck doesn't come out of retirement and Nick Sirianni gets him as his QB. At least it's not Watson. Yeah, you're right. But Deshaun Watson, the Houston Texans are not planning to part with him anytime soon. Despite the fact that he wanted out of Houston, they are stubborn. So yeah, it's basically going to come. So basically, the AFC South is going to come down to the following QBs: Ryan Tannehill, Carson Wentz, Deshaun Watson, and Trevor Lawrence. Because that's what it's going to look like after NFL draft night. Do you want the Titans to re-sign Jadeveon Clowney? Yes. I am not going to complain with the doubters. I think Jadeveon Clowney didn't get enough practice time because he waited too long to sign with the team. They waited too long, which is the same thing for Gostkowski when he missed all those field goals. Because they didn't had enough time with the team. They both Clowney and Gostkowski signed right before the season. Gostkowski signed longer. Still, the fact remains took longer than Clowney's. The point is, it is not their faults that they stunk out loud. They signed on too little too late. No training camp. Not enough time with the team. Plus, Clowney only played 8 of those games. You want Gostkowski to go back to the Titans next year? My money's on yes, but I think some of us heard Mike Vrabel's radio. Mike Vrabel's video, and he said that there is a chance that Titans could draft another kicker in the draft. If that happens, we could kiss Gostkowski goodbye. And trust me, I want Gostkowski more than anything. But then again, Ryan Suckup could be a free agent. But no. He'll most likely stay in Tampa Bay. They won the Super Bowl. Yeah, it's called loyalty. Miss Kowski gotta go. I mean, Tampa Bay Buccaneers, they have a lot of free agents. And Shaq Barrett, Chris Godwin, Rob Gronkowski, those guys are free agents. Would you take Justin Houston or Melvin Ingram? That is a trick question. Justin Houston or Melvin Ingram? That is a trick question. Well, right now, according to NFL rumors, we could be in the running for Justin Houston if he decides to leave Indy. This is a tough question. Then again, Melvin Ingram. He is Desmond King's teammate. If Desmond King signs, I'm going to say Melvin Ingram. If he leaves, then I'm going to say Justin Houston. So yeah, my decision is going to have to depend on whether Desmond King stays or not. Do you think the Titans need another linebacker to go along with Harold Landry? Saints fan 101. Jayon Brown is possibly a free agent this year. He's one of those 20 free agents. Which means there is a chance Jayon Brown could leave. But here's the thing. Let's move on to that Buffalo Bills linebacker that is testing NFL free agency. Matt Milano. I could see him taking that position. I can see Matt Milano taking that position if he tests free agency. I mean, seriously, Matt Milano is literally testing the free agency mark. If Jayon Brown leaves, I could see Matt Milano being with the Titans. Of course, there are other linebacker options like in the draft, like, say, Jabril Cox from LSU. The one, COX is the one. Jabril COX. There's also Chaz Surratt from North Carolina, but he will probably be close to round 3 at the time. What about Kawan Short? I don't know. Kawan Short. Kawan Short is a defensive tackle, not a linebacker. And second, even though they just released him, they're planning on and even though he's just released, the Carolina Panthers are interested in re-signing him to a shorter contract. Anyways, back to the Carson Wentz thing. I think Carson Wentz could have would you take him on the Titans? No, because we got to focus on better. No, not Kawan Shorts. No, I do not want him on the Titans. I mean, seriously, we got to focus on other needs as well. Like, say, linebacker, edge rusher, wide receiver, tight end, if it comes down to it. This year, Titans have to focus on needs. They're just J.J. Watt is lucky. J.J. Watt and Von Miller are both lucky that they're both needed in that. They're both needs in this category. That they fit the qualification. In fact, Mike Vrabel and John Robinson confirmed that they're trying to get in contact with J.J. Watt. But still no response. I mean, seriously, still no response. We got word that he is interested in signing with Cleveland. We got word that he's mutual interest with Buffalo. We got word that his brother T.J. Watt is basically shoveling snow out, and which could be a sign that he could convince him to go to Pittsburgh. Most people are saying Green Bay Packers are most likely the favorites because he gets to go back home. But here's the thing. Did Green Bay Packers pick up the phone yet? My money's on no. But something tells me they might have behind our backs and never reported it. If they haven't reported it, they should be fined. I mean, seriously, they should be fined if they haven't reported it. in your opinion, what is the right time to look for a new quarterback? Ooh, that is a tough call. That is a really tough call. Based on the way Ryan Tannehill is going, let's see here. 3 more years for Ryan Tannehill. Let's see. If they keep up the playoffs, I say it's going to take at least. If they somehow make the playoffs, it's going to take at least 7 years. 7 years to look for a new QB. 7 years for a new starting QB. This year they can look for a backup. Like say trade with the New York Jets to get Sam Darnold, or possibly draft someone in the NFL draft. I'm looking at Kellen Mond as a backup. But then again, he could be drafted by the Patriots. Patriots can pull a Tom Brady. Who's better, Jeremy McNichols, or who, or else who? So I can give you or Darrington Evans. Darrington Evans, duh. Jeremy McNichols stinks, which is why I wanted him gone. I mean, seriously, Jeremy McNichols stunk out loud when they sat Derrick Henry out. To rest up. Jeremy McNichols stunk out loud. Mostly never got the first down. I am serious. I was thinking like 2 years if it goes downhill. Well, right now, Titans made 2 playoff appearances with Ryan Tannehill. So, yeah, it's going to take a while. Yeah, but it's going to take a while because despite the fact that Titans finished in the wild card round this year, Titans still made the playoffs 2 years in a row with Ryan Tannehill as their quarterback. And it's true what they say. Derrick Henry is the running back. But only because Ryan Tannehill had the best guys available. And it's true. Corey Davis and Jonnu Smith are heading to free agency. But maybe somehow we can get one of those guys back or probably replace them with 2 better players. Do you think the Titans should draft a tight end if Jonnu Smith doesn't re-sign? Yikes. I'm not so I can't even answer that question. But if they do decide to go tight end, I think it's that kid from Miami, Florida. Brevon Jordan, I think. Because there's no way, because if they go Pat Freiermuth from Penn State, they would screw up a lot of needs. I mean, seriously, Pat Freiermuth is basically worth a second-round pick. And Titans, they got to focus on other needs. Plus, they got Ferguson, who's a restricted free agent. They got Michael Pruitt to worry about. They also have Jeff Swam to think about. Seattle, pretty quiet so far. I know, Aaron Hockey, I know. Speaking of which, I caught your comment in my DeSean Jackson video. Which we can lead now to the. Let's move on now to DeSean Jackson. DeSean Jackson gets released after a few more years with Philadelphia. I mean, seriously, the team drafted DeSean Jackson a few years back. Left for a little while to work with the Washington football team back when they were called the Redskins. Then he worked with the Buccaneers for a while, then came back to Philadelphia. And here's DeSean Jackson back in free agency. I'm surprised he hasn't announced his retirement. I mean, seriously, if DeSean Jackson doesn't announce his retirement, who would his next team be? I already know Aaron Hockey's answer from my previous video. He says Seattle Seahawks are going to select DeSean Jackson. And I wouldn't mind it. I would not mind that at all. Seattle does need all the help they can get. Especially Russell Wilson. I thought 49ers a best fit. That is a good answer. That is a good answer. But right now, 49ers, they have to figure out what they're going to do with Jimmy Garoppolo. Actually, DeSean Jackson has one more year left on his contract with the Eagles. They just released him today, Saints fan 101. They just released him. They relieved him of it. I found an article today saying that DeSean Jackson could be a perfect number 3 wide receiver for the Minnesota Vikings. The Vikings. Teaming up with Justin Jefferson. I think that could work, especially since Gary Kubiak's son is now the offensive coordinator for the Vikings. I think DeSean Jackson could fit in with the Vikings, considering the fact that Gary Kubiak's son is the offensive coordinator and Kirk Cousins is the quarterback. I think Kirk Cousins could fit in well with DeSean Jackson. Did the two of them team up back when they were in Washington? I don't remember. Crap. I can't even tell whether they teamed up back when they were the Washington Redskins. Well, if they did, that would be a perfect reunion. If that were the case. So yeah, we could put Minnesota Vikings as one of those candidates. We could put in Seattle and San Francisco. But I'm going to throw in an AFC team. I'm going to throw in an AFC team. And I know what you're good. Bud Dupree or Shaw? Who is Shaw? Oh, Shaq Barrett. It is definitely going to be. Well, it is a long shot, but I'm going to say Shaq Barrett because he sacked Patrick Mahomes in the Super Bowl. How do you not take this guy in? But there is a chance Shaq Barrett could stay with Tampa Bay. Jets are still an option. Yeah, you are right that New York Jets could still be an option. Wait, unless you're talking about the Bud Dupree or Shaq Barrett situation, not the DeSean Jackson one, because I was talking about the DeSean Jackson. So yeah, let's put New York Jets as one of those options. You know what? I'm I'm going to bet the farm and say Deshaun Watson could be a Tennessee Titan. Want to know why? Because there is a chance Adam Humphries could be cut. Did you think the Jets will cut Crowder because if they did, it would save them $10 million? I think yes. Yes, imagine being a Jets fan. Yeah, I know. But luckily I'm a Titans fan. And I know what you're thinking. Putting Titans with DeSean Jackson, that would not be the wise move. But if they cut Adam Humphries, I think it could happen. I think it could happen. I could see Ryan Tannehill teaming up with DeSean Jackson if they cut Adam Humphries, though. If they cut Adam Humphries, then yes. But if Adam Humphries stays, no. So my mind's going to be on DeSean Jackson being a Tennessee Titan. That's going to depend on what they're going to do with Adam Humphries. Let's see here. Other destinations for DeSean Jackson. Let's see here. No way it can be Indy. After all, the Colts basically already have a slot receiver in Michael Pittman Jr. Maybe Detroit Lions. That way. Anyways, now let's move on to Sam Darnold. Speaking of Jets, let's move on to Sam Darnold. I mean, seriously, Sam Darnold, we obviously expect Sam Darnold to be traded, but if you saw my video, you heard that Sam Darnold's price is going to be unspeakable. I mean, seriously, the Jets are asking for at least a second and mid-round pick. I mean, seriously, what in the world? Sam Darnold's not even worth a second-round pick. I mean, seriously, Sam Darnold's not even worth a second-round pick. Comment down below which round, if Sam Darnold does get traded in the NFL draft, which NFL draft pick is worth Sam Darnold? I mean, seriously. I said in my other video, he's definitely worth at least a 4th to 7th round draft pick. I mean, seriously. I don't care how far, as long as it's day 3, because he's not worth days 1 and 2. Logan Woodside or DeShone Kizer as the backup. I don't know. Logan Woodside's better off as a backup on special teams. DeShone Kizer, I don't know if I can trust DeShone Kizer. I can't see either of those two guys in there, which is why they're going for a backup QB. Either in free agency or the draft. I can see Tennessee Titans calling New York Jets for Sam Darnold. I could see Sam Darnold trying to catch up to Ryan Tannehill. But no, I want them to draft Kellen Mond. For backup, I'm going to say Tennessee Titans. For starting job, I'm going to say Philadelphia Eagles. And I was like, what? Yeah, but don't forget, they just traded Carson Wentz. Look back on years ago today. Would have regretted celebrating people we cut because we have holes now. Yeah, I can't. Yeah, that would. Anyways, yeah, if Sam Darnold wants a place to start, I think it's going to be Philadelphia Eagles because they just traded Carson Wentz. I think Sam Darnold could be a replacement to at least overthrow Jalen Hurts, unless they don't want that. Then I can't, because right now the Eagles are Sam Darnold's best bet to start right away. If he gets traded. I mean, seriously. Otherwise, he's going to be a backup. Who do you think will win the AFC South next year? Oh my God. I totally forgot about that. Saints fan 101, thank you for reminding me this. Everyone, please, I want to hear your answers out. Who will win the AFC South next year now that Carson Wentz is with Indianapolis? Because I'm still questionable, but I don't think it's going to be Houston Texans. I don't think it's going to be Jacksonville. It's going to come down to either Tennessee or Indianapolis. I say it's going to come down to either Tennessee or Indianapolis. It all depends on free agency right now and the draft. All depends on free agency and the draft right now. But please comment down below what he just said. It's going to be between the Colts and Titans again. Yes, King Isaac, that's what I'm saying. Because Deshaun Watson, he lost a lot of key guys thanks to Bill O'Brien's boneheaded moves, and they lost a lot, and he lost a lot of trust with the Texans because he was left out of the general managing and head coaching choices, which is why he wanted out of Houston, for example. And Jacksonville Jaguars are just getting started because with their new head coach, Urban Meyer, and the soon-to-be drafted Trevor Lawrence, if Trevor Lawrence is the quarterback to pick, but it's going to be a most likely 100%. Unless, of course, T.Y. Hilton goes to Jacksonville. Like that's ever going to happen. Who is the Titans' new offensive coordinator? Don't even get. Oh my God. It was. Oh my God. You should have checked the video. my Todd Downing video. It is Todd Downing who's the offensive coordinator. And I know what you're thinking. When he was with the Raiders, his only time as offensive coordinator was when he was with the Raiders, and it was suckish. But let me remind you all what happened with that Raiders team. Derek Carr got injured. The team was falling apart. So at the time, yeah, I think I think Todd Downing could get a second chance with this Titans team. If not, then Mike Vrabel is going to be in jeopardy because it was his choice to promote Todd Downing, just like it was his choice to promote Shane Bowen. Man, can't believe Vrabel did this with the defensive coach. Yeah, I know. But do you think the Titans will sign Tyrell Williams? Ooh, that is a tough call, but no. But if they do, I would be glad, but I'm going to say no. No, I don't think Tyrell Williams will be with the Titans. That is not my call. That is not what I'm going to say. King Isaac, I agree. I cannot believe Vrabel is doing this. If he had done it last year, then we all wouldn't have a right to complain. But he didn't, and he threw Shane Bowen under the bus, for crying out loud. He threw Shane Bowen under the bus, and he still promoted the guy. What the heck? If you say you threw Shane Bowen under the bus, you do not promote the guy. Because guess what? You are basically going to be branded a cuckoo. This time they're focusing on players, not coaches. So for Mike Vrabel's sake, they got to get either J.J. Watt or Von Miller. But J.J. Watt would make sense considering the fact that he worked with J.J. Watt during his days in Houston. And J.J. Watt would help Shane Bowen out a bit because Shane Bowen worked with Houston for a while. How many draft picks do the Titans have in 2021? They have 6 picks. Including the one they got from the Jaguars. They have 6 picks this year. 5 of their own, and the one we got from Jacksonville when we traded away Korea. Remember, we had to trade one of those 6th-round picks for Desmond King. Oh my God. And basically, Titans, they don't get a 7th-round pick. Ooh. Looking at the schedule for next season, we need a pass rush bad, or we could be in a losing streak. Yeah, King Isaac, agree. Take a look back at what happened last time we lost to the Ravens. We were up against the AFC East. We were up against the NFC West. We were up against Pittsburgh Steelers. And we all know how that started, with a 6-game losing streak until we climbed back up, only to fall down at the end. I mean, seriously, that's what happened last time we lost to the Ravens when we had this schedule. I mean, the last time we lost to the Ravens, we had the AFC East and the NFC West the year after that. And it was a total disaster. And again, there was some problems back then. including that 59-0 blowout in New England. That was terrible. That was terrible. Hopefully that doesn't happen again. Which brings me to this next topic. That wasn't supposed to be scheduled for tonight, but given the fact that we got the salary cap, I figured why not get it out of the way? Why not get it out of the way? So yeah, basically we get the salary cap after they increased it by $5 million. Let's start off with the AFC East, for instance. According to NFLPA, the New York Jets have the highest with $26.7 million. Well, according to NFLPA. And the lowest would be Buffalo Bills. In the AFC West, the most cap space goes to Denver Broncos. The least cap space goes to Las Vegas Raiders. AFC North, which could put Cleveland Browns in a position for J.J. Watt, considering the fact that they got the most cap space, according to NFLPA. But this one, but the AFC North team that gets last is going to be a downer because it's the Baltimore Ravens. If you're a Ravens fan, you're definitely in bad news town right now. I mean, seriously, $587K? The Ravens have a lot to cut right now. I mean, seriously, the Ravens have a lot to cut right now. That is very bad. That is very bad. The Ravens have the lowest number of cap space. That was very bad. All Ravens fans are in panic mode right now. Now on to the AFC South. The highest number of cap space is the Jacksonville Jaguars. The lowest goes to these guys, the Tennessee Titans. At least we have more cap space than the Baltimore Ravens. At least we have more cap space than the Baltimore Ravens. I can guarantee you that. Now let's move on to the NFC, shall we? The highest number of cap space goes to the Dallas Cowboys in the NFC East. The least number in the NFC East is the New York Giants. What a bad day to be Tom Grassi's persona Bruce after hearing that. At least Giants have more money than us. And the Ravens. Oh, the NFC West is by far the lowest number of them all. None of the NFC West teams has made over 10 million. At least over 6 million. I mean, seriously, none of them made it at least 6 million. The NFC West is the lowest number of caps space in the division. The highest number goes to the Los Angeles Rams, and the lowest goes to the Seattle Seahawks. Seattle Seahawks have $956K to work with. Oh, God. Yeah, I'm sorry, Aaron Hockey, but Seattle has the lowest number of cap space in the NFC West. But at least you got more money than Baltimore Ravens. You guys, Seahawks and Ravens have a lot of cutting to do. Sure, there are also Titans, but if you want to talk about teams that are in the need of most cap space, it's definitely Seattle Seahawks and Baltimore Ravens. Now on to the NFC North. The highest number goes to the Detroit Lions. And in dead last, I was going to say Green Bay Packers, but they freed up $10 million. So if this remains the same, Green Bay Packers are in dead last. If not, then it's going to be most likely Minnesota Vikings. Carolina Panthers freed up at least $19 million. So we move on to the NFC South. So I think we could put Carolina Panthers having the most number of cap space, considering the fact that they freed up most of their money today on free players, which they now need a punter and a new strong safety. But the team that is in But the NFC South team that's in need of money is the Atlanta Falcons. That looks very bad. But then again, Falcons did free up $10 million as well, so that just leaves one team. New Orleans Saints. But in the end of the cap space, the Seattle Seahawks and the Baltimore Ravens are the ones that are in big trouble right now. Seattle and Baltimore's cap space looks very very bad. Very bad. But Ravens, they're in dead last when it comes to cap space. I would hate to see how Baltimore Ravens are going to get themselves out of this hole, because right now Seattle and Baltimore, those two teams are have the lowest number of cap space. Seattle Seahawks is in second place when it comes to dead last. Do you think Taylor Lewan is a top 10 left tackle in the NFL? Only if he keeps not getting injured. Only if he doesn't keep getting injured. But still, the fact remains is that Seattle Seahawks and Baltimore Ravens, they have a lot of work to do to fill up that cap space. I mean, come on. Those two teams have the lowest number of cap space. But the Ravens, they have a lot more work to do than the Seahawks. I would hate to be a Seahawks and Ravens fan after hearing about that. At At least Titans have at least 2 million. 2 million, that makes sense. But Seahawks and Ravens fans, they're not looking too good after hearing back salary cap news. They're not looking too good. Especially you, Aaron Hockey. I bet as a Seahawks fan, you hate to hear the fact that how many years do you think Ben Jones has left in him? That is a tough call. That is a tough call. I think about 3 more years, in fact. In fact, but as long as Steelers don't get him, we can get Landon Dickerson. So yeah, if your salary cap is all the way in the bottom, you got to get it sorted out before St. Patrick's Day, which is the day NFL free agency starts. I mean, seriously. The teams that are in panic mode the most are the Seattle Seahawks and the Baltimore Ravens. They didn't even make $1 million. Seattle and Baltimore didn't even make $1 million for Pete's sake. Ravens fans toxic for no reason. As Titans fans, we should be relieved that Baltimore Ravens have less money than us. After hearing that salary cap. I mean, Baltimore Ravens, they have the least amount of money in salary cap. They have a lot to get rid of. They have a lot more to get rid of than us. Baltimore Ravens have a lot more money to get rid of than all the other 31 NFL teams. Seattle Seahawks are in second place of being dead last. You think the Titans should drag Gregory Rousseau? I think so, as long as he stays at least number 22, or at least we trade up to at least about 15. That is what I'm thinking. In between 15 and 22. That's what I'm saying. I mean, I don't mind if we trade up with the New England Patriots. Anyway, that's our show today, folks. This is Stephen Crosio signing off. I hope to see you all again soon.